Hello, this is Francesco and I'm recording from AsicMining.it, and today I want to show you a new method to clean the L3 Plus control board, this board, from the L3 virus. As many of you know, the L3 Plus and L3 Plus Plus miners have a very big problem today about a virus that basically what it does is it hijacks the ability of the miner to mine to a certain pool. So after a while that the virus is running, all of a sudden you will see your miner not mining anymore to your pool, and when you try to change the settings, you will see that it will not save the settings that you selected, and it will keep on mining to a different pool. At least up until today, the pools that the hacker was using were in Hong Kong and other locations. But anyway, if you see from your L3 that your miner is not working anymore, but the miner is still hot and is working, then probably you do have an L3 virus. Also, please note that the L3 virus, up until today, there are reports that it was able to spread also to S9 and all of the miners from Bitmain of the 17 series, all with the oldest firmwares. Now, the majority of guides that you will see on removing the virus will tell you to make a short circuit between 2 points on the board. Now, this is a very dangerous procedure because personally I've done this procedure on about 20 boards, and at least 5 or 6 boards they ended up fried. This is because these points that you have to connect together are very small. So a very small mistake will basically fry the entire board and it will be unrecoverable. This method that we'll be using does not require this short circuit, and it goes basically through software. So what you need are a USB to TTL device, and I will post a link down this video, and you will also need an SD card with a USB to SD card adapter, this one. We will start by turning on the board with the virus and connect it with the USB to TTL device. We need to use this. Basically, what I usually use is xshell 7. You will see here. Once with the USB to TTL device connected, I will connect to the USB and I'm connected. Now I turn on the control board, and here you will see it starts to boot. What you need to do when it starts to boot, you need to keep pressing the ESC to abort auto boot as it's written here. Once you've done this, you're in the U-boot, which is basically it's like the BIOS of any computer. Now, what the virus does is that it has overwritten some parts of the U-boot in order to avoid you from booting from the SD card. So what we need to do is we need to change the environment, the U-boot environment, and change it so that it will force it to boot from the SD. Then once we change the environment, we will enable again the boot from SD, so the miner will be able to boot again from the SD card. Now what I need to do is I need to put in the SD card the firmware, a valid firmware, because when we do the cleanup there will not be any more some parts of the virus boot. So we need to install the new firmware on the USB to SD card, and then put the SD card inside the control board. I will post also the link of where you can download the firmware that I'm uploading now. It's when you need to reinstall the firmware from these situations, you don't need just any random firmware, but you need to use an SD recovery firmware. Here you can see, here is my SD recovery firmware. I will start Balena Etcher and write it on the SD card. I select the L3 recovery, select target, select the SD device, and select and flash it. I'll turn off the card right now, the control board. Okay, so Balena Etcher now has finished flashing, so I can remove the USB card. I can place the SD inside the SD slot on the L3 control board, and I'll move to xshell and I'll start the board again. Remember to keep pressing the ESC button when it's booting. Okay. Now we have the SD card with the firmware inside, and we need to fix the boot environment. So what we do is we do env print, and this is the environment that the U-boot system is using to start the machine. And this is the virus, basically. You can see it from here. You can see that it says when it finds an MMC card, it rescans it, then writes microSD card, and then reboots. This is why the virus, when you put in the SD card with the new firmware, you see that it keeps rebooting. So what we do here is basically, first of all, we need to erase some initial parts of the NAND memory, because sometimes that initial part can create some problems when installing the new firmware. So I write NAND erase 0xx5 million and 0x1 million. Once we have erased the NAND, now what we need to do is we need to clear the part of the environment that is used by the virus to stop rebooting. So what we do is we run env delete cmd, and then we do env edit boot cmd. You paste in this code that I wrote. Paste it like this. Paste. And then you go env save. Now the machine will boot from the SD card. I will turn off the control board and restart it. I restart it now. Yes, it has boot from the SD card. Now we just need to wait for it to install the firmware. I suggest you do this procedure when the board is not connected to the internet, because usually the virus does a lot of terrible things on the local network. So not allowing it to be on at any time on the local network is always a good idea. This virus is a very, very difficult beast, and it is also a very bad beast in the sense that it studies all the information inside the network and all the passwords that go through and sends all the information to the hacker who is hijacking the machines. So it's really, really important to treat all the L3 control boards that have a virus as extremely infected, meaning that you should never let it run, not even 1 minute. Usually the virus also compromises the local network on many levels, so once you have the virus, you sometimes need to restart and reboot the routers. You might need to return them to firmware, to the original settings. It's a very, very complex virus. As you can see from xshell, we have completely erased the virus and we have put the new firmware inside. So the operation was successful, and I'll show you in a second how is the control board working now. Okay, I have now plugged in the Ethernet cable, and I will start again the same control board that we worked on to show you how the machine is working now. I have obviously taken away the SD card now. The card is booting. Okay, so the IP address is 190, so I can open any browser as usual. And select 190, root. And this is the firmware that I flashed. I usually flash the 2017 firmware because it's it's the last one that is without the bitmain signatures. So from this I can upgrade to any firmware I like just by using the web interface. By going here and selecting here the firmware that I like, it will boot. Also, one thing you should always do to check if your L3 control boards have a virus is by using the Bitmain's antivirus. Some Antminer tools, they don't actually have the antivirus inside, so not always the ones you can find on the internet are actually working with the antivirus function. But you should see it, because if it's not working, it will tell you. So what I do here is I scan my network. Actually, I stop it immediately because I already know which is the IP. The IP is 190, so I just scroll down to 190. And yeah, here it is. I click here and I go to virus scan. Before I did the same thing on these control boards, and it would show as poisoned here where it says scanning. Right now it will say it's okay. Yeah, it says normal. So we are sure that we removed the virus. Well, that's basically it. So thank you all for watching. I hope this has been helpful to you and will be helpful to you as much as it has been to me. And if you want, please subscribe to our channel. Please visit our website, which is www.AsicMining.it. Thank you all for watching, and please let me know your comments. If you have any feedback, it would be great. I would be grateful to you. Thank you.